Hey there, my name's Pastor Blake Moore. Thanks so much for checking out one of our latest messages online. And we know that you will be blessed, encouraged and inspired as you watch this message today. Thanks for checking out one of our resources, and we would love to meet you in person very soon. God bless. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Had a good time, have you? It's great to be back amongst you after a great break, and I'm really looking forward to what is in store for this church and for our city and nation in your life in 2026. 2026. Yeah, it's hard to say. 2026. But Happy New Year to you. We've been travelling through a series in January called Summer Reset. Over the last 3 weeks, and January is a great time, is it not, to do some resetting in our lives, like lots of food and lots of eating at Christmas, right? Maybe you need a reset in your health and fitness. Maybe you spent a little more money than you expected to spend over the Christmas and New Year period, and you need to do a little reset in your finances and credit card. I always find sending your wife and kids back to work helps stop the summer spending. Resets are helpful. Resets are helpful because if nothing changes, nothing changes. You may have heard me say that before. And so far in this series, we've talked through resetting your heart, resetting your mind. Last week, Pastor Steve unpacked the need to reset your rhythms. That hurry and busyness and redlining seems to be the norm in people's lives, and where rest is something that people only experience at annual holidays. Maybe you need to have a bit of a reset of your soul in 2026. The power of resetting. The power of resetting. Resetting can transform your life by creating a fresh start and making necessary changes. Resets can have a positive psychological impact on a person. In fact, resets can give a person a mindset change. A reset can positively impact on your emotional health, identifying triggers and reducing feelings of anxiety. Our brains, in fact, are wired to respond to fresh starts and resets, in fact. Psychologists call them temporal landmarks, and these moments are what can create a psychological sense of a fresh possibility in your life. A birthday, maybe, the start of a new season, the start of a new school year, a Monday morning, even something as simple as the first day of a new month can do that. That these aren't just arbitrary dates on a calendar, that research actually suggests that they can offer neurological opportunities. When your brain encounters these natural transition points, something interesting can happen. It may mentally separate your past from your present self, potentially making change feel more achievable. Like, in simple terms, we ask ourselves the question in any area of reset, this question: is this working for me? Is this working for me? Is this part and area of my life actually working for me? Or do I need a reset? Is it working for me? Today I want to delve into the topic of resetting your relationships. Resetting your relationships. The most important thing for you to understand today from today's sermon is this. It's on the screen. That there are people we are called to reach and impact with your life and ministry. And simultaneously, there are a group of people who you are called to do life with, called to walk alongside with, to encourage you and do life together. Do you understand the two differences there? This sermon's talking about the second group today. Before people go, really? Just understand, you have a group of people who you are called to reach with your life, impact with your life and ministry. But then there is another group of people who you are called to do life together. They're in your inner circle. You do life with them. And they are two separate groups. Two separate groups. 1 Corinthians, so they're the closest people in your world that we're focusing on this group of people today. Who you are surrounding yourself with, who you're building your life around, and who you're building your faith with. That's the group we're going to talk about today. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 15:33, Paul says this: do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Paul doesn't say bad beliefs corrupt good character. He says bad relationships do. See, bad relationships are damaging and toxic. We are made for relationships, but we are made in particular for healthy relationships. But I'm sure many of us here this morning and today can relate to experiencing a bad or toxic relationship with another person, maybe in your family, maybe in the church, maybe in your workplace. But no matter what the context is, bad relationships cause damage and hurt us often very deeply. Today I want to give you some principles on, and I'm being very specific here with that second group of people that I just unpacked. I want to give you some principles on how you can reset your relationships with the closest people in your world and why a reset can sometimes be necessary. Principle number 1, choose access wisely. When it comes to the closest people in your world, choose access wisely. We are under some false sense that people have equal access to your life. We are under some false pretense that everyone has equal access to your life. That everyone is owed a certain amount of you. Right? Often this is social pressure, family pressure, societal pressure, in-laws pressure. But the truth is that not everyone should have an all-access pass to your life. Not everyone in this church has an equal all-access pass to my life. Jesus, this is very important if you understand. Jesus loved everybody. True? Yeah. But he invested differently. I can prove that to you in the Bible very, very easily. Jesus loved everyone. True? But he related to people differently. He ministered to crowds, but taught deeper insights to his closest disciples. Jesus reached the crowds, but he had the 72, he had the 12, and he had the 3. And if we believe John the Apostle's press about himself, he had the 1. Well, we're not sure about that. Right? You get that, right? Let me prove this to you through Scripture. Mark chapter 9, verse 2. Let's start with that. After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James and John with him and led them up a high mountain. Notice he didn't take the 12. He took Peter, James and John with him and led them up on a high mountain where they were all alone, and there he was transfigured before them. Jesus never transfigured before the whole 12, just the 3. What about Luke chapter 9, verse 10? When the apostles returned, they reported to Jesus what they had done, and then he took them with him, the disciples, and they withdrew by themselves, there ain't no crowds here, to a town called Bethesda. Mark chapter 9, verses 31 to 31. They left the place and passed through Galilee, and Jesus did not want anyone to know where they were because he was teaching his disciples. He's not teaching the crowds. This is disciple time. He said to them, the Son of Man, he drops a secret here. The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and after 3 days he will rise. He didn't say that to the crowds. I'm arguing to you that Jesus had different levels of access to his life. Jesus loved equally, but he invested differently. And so the question for some of us today is not that you don't love a person, but sometimes the best thing that you can do when loving somebody is to separate yourself from them for the health of both of you. Jesus did not give people equal access. This shouldn't be surprising to you. Maybe there are some of you here today and go, this is new. I've never heard of this before. Jesus never gave people equal access to your life. And you know what? You don't either. You don't. Think about it. You don't give people equal access to your home. Well, I hope you don't. I hope you don't. Let me explain. When you order Uber Eats or DoorDash, I don't do it quite often, but when you order Uber Eats or DoorDash and the delivery driver comes with your food to interact with you, do you not interact with them through a security screen door, or you tell them, hey, just drop my food at the bottom of the stairs? Heck, you don't invite the Uber Eats guy or DoorDash guy into your house, do you? Like, come into my house. No, you interact them with the security door, or you say, hey, drop my Uber Eats delivery at the bottom of the steps. You don't open up your house and invite them in. But for some friends of yours, you open up your home and they have access to your lounge room. But at Christmas time, when the relatives visit, well, heck, they get access to your spare bedroom, and heck, you even give them access to your fridge and TV remote, for goodness sake. And then you have people in your life, like your spouse, who has access to your bedroom and to your bed. Jesus modeled different levels of access. Jesus interacted with his inner circle very differently than he did with the crowds. Can we agree with that? Maybe in 2026 you need to do a little bit of a reset on your inner circle. The people who you give the greatest access to. Maybe you need to reset your circle. Now, listen, I'm not saying this. I'm not saying write a person off. But I am saying that maybe there are people who have access to your life who are not good for you. Newsflash. Not everybody can be your best friend. Hello? Not everybody can be your best friend. Maybe you need to set some stronger boundaries with that relative and their influence in your primary family, which is unhelpful and unhealthy. Jesus never, if you get this principle this morning, it will transform your 2026. Listen, Jesus never confused, which a lot of people do in the church. Jesus never confused love with access. Never confused love with access. Jesus actually gatekeepered who influenced and shaped his life. Like, if you have people in your inner circle who do not propel you towards faith, hope, and love in Christ, but distract you and influence you away from the things of God, you have an access problem that you need to deal with. Is this making sense to anyone here? Maybe even one. I'll take that on my first weekend back. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your hearts. Above all else, guard your hearts. And we're heading back to week 1 when Mika preached, right? We're going back to week 1 here, right? An element and a way in which you guard your heart, friends, is to guard who speaks into your heart. So I want to say to you today, choose access wisely. I also want to say place people in the right place of access. We need to realise that there are different types of relationships. Jesus built relationships always around purpose, not pressure. Around purpose, not pressure. Sometimes we get pressured into a relationship with people even though we know that it's not helpful and we know that they're not godly, and there are people around you who are not bad people. Listen, there are people around you who are not bad people, they are just not godly. And just before you say, what is he talking about here? Remember what I said at the start. A reminder for some of you who may have forgotten, there are people we are called to reach and invest your life. There are people that you're called to reach and impact with your life and ministry. And simultaneously, there are people you are called to do life with, called to walk alongside, encourage you and do life together. And that's the group I'm talking about in this sermon. Does that clear up any thoughts or questions? Is he saying that we should not love everybody? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's two different types of groups. Like, has anyone here, can anyone relate to this? That we can't afford to have people speaking doubt, fear, division, gossip and trash into our lives. Does anyone agree with me on that? You do? Excellent. We can't afford to have somebody in your inner circle always looking at the negativity, tearing you down all the time and filling you up with discouragement. Because Jesus built his relationships always on purpose, not pressure. With the crowds, for example, Jesus built his relationships with them around his purpose for the crowds. For the crowds, it was to simply influence them. With his disciples, Jesus' purpose was to spiritually form them. Jesus' inner circle was built on deep trust, which I hope yours is as well. Jesus' inner circle was built on deep trust, and he had they were closer than anybody else. Jesus' inner circle of his friends, they held deep affection towards one another. I think of Lazarus and the deep relationship and affection that they had towards each other. Jesus, though, even had ministry partners who financially supported his ministry. My point is this: each relationship had purpose. Because relationships are meant to have meaning. There are people, and I say this as nice as I can, there are people that we have commonality with that we should run from. Because I've worked out, after 52 years of living on planet Earth, I've learnt this lesson. I've learnt some things, and I've learnt a whole lot, and I haven't learnt a whole lot. Most relational pain Most relational pain, from my experience, comes from misplaced expectations, not malicious people. Most frustrations in relationships come not so much from toxic people, even though there are some, but rather from promoting someone to a role in your life that they were never meant to fulfill. Like expecting a co-worker to pastor you, and when they don't because they can't, you're disappointed. Or expecting a casual friend or acquaintance to carry your emotional weight, and they don't even have that kind of relationship with you. Expecting your spouse to babysit your emotions. Or a girlfriend or a boyfriend to babysit and manage your emotions when that is not their role in your life. Well, I mean, why doesn't that person want to hear my problems all the time? Well, they don't, because they don't have that kind of relationship with you. Some people are great to hang out with and go to the big bash with, and that's about it. But not the right people to confide in and take counsel from. Some people are great for hanging out with, and some are great for encouragement, and some are great for playing golf with, and some are great for advice. But not everybody is meant to shape your decisions. Not everyone is meant to shape your marriage. Don't take marriage advice from somebody whose marriage you don't aspire to. Don't take discipleship and spiritual advice from somebody who you wouldn't follow to the shop, spiritually speaking. Why would you? See, when you put the wrong people in the wrong places, everybody gets frustrated. Proverbs 13:20 says, I love this, walk with the wise and you'll become, oh my gosh, this is rocket science. Walk with the wise and you'll become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Do you notice that there's a lot of fools? If you walk with the wise, you'll become wise, for a companion of fools suffers what? Harm. Last week I reminded one of my relatives that there are three types of people in the world. There are three types of people in the world: wise, foolish, and evil. And when you come across, if you discover an evil person, you better make sure you know what you're doing. But there are wise people in this world, there are foolish people in this world, and there are evil people in this world. And some people wonder why they're still making the same bad decisions they were as teenagers and young adults. Well, why? Because they're foolish. Bad decisions with money. Why? Because you're foolish. Bad decisions with relationships. Why? Because you are needy and foolish. Bad decisions with each job that you take on and undertake. Why? Because you're foolish when it comes to blind spots. Wise people, foolish people, evil people. And foolish people aren't bad. Foolish people are good people. I've been foolish in my life. I could give you essays and essays of examples. But I'm getting wise. Wise, foolish, evil. I want you to understand and take away from this message today on resetting your relationships that proximity determines influence. Principle 3, proximity determines influence. The people that you hang out with the most, the people who have the closest impact on your life, proximity determines influence. Why did my mum say, make sure you hang out with the good, you lie down with dogs, you get what? Because proximity determines influence. That's why we want our kids and our children and our grandchildren to hang out with the right people at school, right? We want them to have the right relationships. We want to have them the right friendships. Why? Because proximity determines influence. Influence comes through proximity, and Jesus prioritized proximity with those he was closest to. Mark chapter 3:14 says this, he appointed 12 that they what? They might be. It doesn't say he appointed 72, they sent 72, but he says he appointed only 12 that they might be with him and that he might send them out to preach. That they may be with him. The 12 were with him. They lived with him. They ate with him. They cried with him. They encouraged him and they followed him. You have people in your life who are with you. That's something to be excited about. You have people in your life who are with you. In your immediate family of origin, friendships. You have people in your life who are with you. and they are closest to you, and they are shaping you, and they are shaping your life more than you know. Do you know that you can choose who you surround yourself with? Not all environments. I know that you can't get to choose everyone who you hang out with and involved with in a workplace. I understand that. But for the most part, you actually get to choose. Do you know that you actually get to choose who you spend time with? You actually get to choose who you spend your weekends with. You get to choose who you allow to speak into your life. You get to choose those people. Because many people allow life just to happen to them and allow life to determine who speaks into your life. Because here's the problem with that. You say, well, my next door neighbour, they've got a good heart. Got a good heart, Pastor. Well, listen, this is for someone. If it's just one, this is what I've come here to do. Listen, not everyone is good for you. 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 But there are people who are good for you. There are people who are good for you in this church. There are people who are good for you in your family of origin and in your friendships. But don't assume that everyone is good for you. There are people who are good for you and they shape you. Do you know that you are getting shaped right now through the time that you spend with people, through time, through conversations and observations? That is how you are formed. And in a number of weeks, we're going to talk about this idea that everyone is being formed by something. And we want to make sure we're being formed by kingdom principles and by Jesus, but you all are being formed by something or someone. And those who are closest to you and those that you have the closest proximity with are those who will shape your life the most. Proverbs 27:17. Notice there's a lot from Proverbs. Wisdom literature. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. If you want spiritual growth in 2026, proximity matters. Who are you surrounding yourself with to help you grow spiritually in 2026? I'm not talking about church attendance, even though that's important. I'm talking about who's going to spiritually form you in 2026. Who are you surrounding yourself with to help you grow spiritually? Who am I putting in my corner in 2026 who is going to grow me spiritually, who's going to propel me towards the things of God? Who am I putting in my corner? Who am I going to have proximity with to make me be better and grow closer to Jesus in 2026 than I did in 2025? Intentionality, proximity. And finally this morning, if you need to reset your relationships, and maybe some people are sitting there going, oh man, I gotta talk to Jesus about that particular friend. I'm not sure. Is this principle that healthy relationships don't avoid hard truths. Truth and grace are non-negotiables in relationships. Does anyone know this? Truth and grace are non-negotiables in relationships. And a lot of people go, I just love the grace, thank you very much. Just give me the grace. Just give me the grace. But let me tell you something. But truth with grace is much better. Truth with grace is much better. Jesus never sacrificed truth for peace. I'm going to say that again. Jesus never sacrificed truth for peace. Jesus never sacrificed grace for control. Truth without grace, truth without grace, just truth, and no grace hurts people. But grace without truth weakens everything. It makes everything shallow. Healthy relationships tell the truth in a way that people can receive it. I'm just wondering if this is going to help someone today. It's not healthy to pretend that everything is okay when people we love are doing something wrong. Healthy relationships tell the truth in a way that people can receive it. I'll say that again. It's not healthy to pretend that everything is okay when people we love are doing something wrong. Listen, that is not being a good friend. That's not good friendship. That's not good parenting, and it's not being a good wife or husband. It's not okay to avoid difficult topics when you see someone spiraling. It's not a good friendship or good relationship to just always have shallow conversations and avoid the difficult conversations. That sometimes the thing that your friends need the most from you and you need the most is hard conversations. If your friends or family or the people who are the closest to you cannot speak truth to you, then you don't want friends, you want yes people. Real relationships are when people tell the truth no matter what. Do you agree with me or not? I'm making an argument here. I'm preaching an essay. I don't know about you, but real relationships are when people tell the truth no matter what. I say this all the time, and I'll continue to say it in 2026. Truth is your friend. In the doctor's office, truth is your friend. In the counsellor's office, truth is your friend. Truth is your friend, and friends tell the truth. Yeah? Proverbs 27:6. Again, Proverbs. Thank you, King Solomon. What did the king have to say? Oh, listen to this. I love this. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. Instead, speaking the truth in love will grow to become in every respect the mature body of him who is the head, that is Christ. If you want spiritual growth, proximity matters with the right people. As a pastor, people leave churches all the time, right? For good reasons, for end of seasons take place, people leave. And people leave churches when they hear truth and sometimes get offended, and then they move from this church to this church to this church. All the pastors in Devonport talk about this all the time. This church, this church, this church. Before long, people run out of churches in Devonport. And from this church to this church and exhaust their whole lives being offended because they never wanted to hear certain truth about them. And that is not maturity. That is acting like an 11-year-old. I believe we need to be a church where people have real relationships and real conversations. I'd encourage you in the foyer today to go from casual conversations to meaningful conversations. I'd encourage you to move your conversations with people that you know from the casual, how's the weather? Oh, the weather's good. How's your week? Oh, it's good. Yeah, how's that recipe I gave you? Oh, it was great, thanks. Move from casual to meaningful, like this. What spoke to you most about Blake's sermon this morning? And what are you going to do about it? Because most of the time in churches, it's casual conversations after church. There's nothing wrong with casual conversations. You don't have to go up to someone you don't know and go to the deep conversation. You don't understand. It's just. But I'm saying, this year, church, at Devonport Church of Christ in 2026, let's practice moving from casual, start at casual, but move to meaningful. Because I want a church, and we want a church where people have real relationships and real conversations about the things that matter the most in life, and we don't avoid the hard conversations. We don't avoid hard truths. You know, I can tell if a person to our church will get connected or not, or feel connected or not, determined firstly by, number one, whether they volunteer, and secondly, if they walk straight out the doors as soon as the last song is sung. And I want to say, as the shepherd of this church in 2026, tomorrow I've been here 12 years. Can you believe it? Where has 12 years gone? I looked a lot better. At the start of 2026, do you have a proximity problem with some people in your life? Do you need to reset the level of proximity that you have with some people? Do you need to reset some relationships in your inner circle? Do you need some new friendships to come into your inner circle? Maybe there are some people you need to give greater proximity and access to your life in 2026. Maybe you need to do some pruning in 2026. Because remember that we're called to love everybody, but don't confuse love with access when it comes to your inner circle. Amen? Do you get it? Are you with me? We love everybody. But you can't be best friends with everybody. And you don't give everybody access to shaping your life and your priorities and your discipleship. Amen? Amen. Awesome.